Hello and welcome to another podcast episode. This episode will be talking about my love story. My story starts in high school, the dreaded place, but I do have some good memories of this school. Everyone is different with their stories of school. Mine starts in high school, like I said. And I had feelings, big feelings, that were always developing. Now I'm going to share my experiences as well as they have cover names for protection. But in high school, I didn't need to cover the names, mostly because I cannot remember them. Let's try and think hard about this. It starts with Bradley. He was good and confronted me and saying he is not interested. We didn't have him for very long anyway, as he moved away, which was sad for us. Then we had Harry. Now, what was very confusing was we had two Harrys in our classes, and I know exactly which one I liked. Then there was Jamie. Jamie was actually the one that said, "Leave my girl alone." And then he chose the wrong time to confront me, which was through a time I was eating dinner. And the crush didn't last long as they would always find a way to ruin it. That's all the names I could think of for high school. I can't think of any more. This was when I thought I was heterosexual, so straight. Then we move on to college. Things did change for me when I went to college. I had a final crush, and that was Ben, but he had found interest in another girl. Then things changed as I had a fling with a girl, and let's call her R, and that was when I discovered I was bisexual. R and I remain friends to this day, and my advice is to never be friends with an ex. Trust me, it does not end well. We go on to my first big relationship, which is with a girl called N, and she was the first one who I actually fell in love with. The relationship lasted up to 6 months and would have lasted longer should she have not had cheated on me. That's right, I know how it feels to be cheated on. I was warned by my empathy before I realized I was an empath in a dream about a yellow snake. I looked up the dream meaning of yellow snake, and it can mean the following things: wisdom, caution, or a coming change. And I think it was a caution, warning for me in my IRL life. I remember that dream well. I do a lot of dream interpretations, so I'll be able to guide you and your dreams and their meanings. That is a part of my empathy. Before I knew it, I was single again. And as I do this podcast episode, I am single again. Then we go back to T. T and I dated again through my time in hospital. He was good enough to stay with me until my discharge. T and I didn't last very long because there was another guy on Instagram, who found me attractive and wanted me to be his wife, even though we didn't meet yet. His name was M. He was an American, so in another country, and I would not mind at all for my other half to be American. I do love the American culture. Anyway, does it seem desperate for me to be with him? M was even wanting me to get a ring, and I really wanted to be engaged. But my wish came true when I was with D. His name will be covered as well. D and I only lasted a few months. We did get engaged, and this was my second engagement. We didn't last very long, though, because he kept lying and doing things behind my back. It made me think, what else would he do behind my back? And his sister was not a nice person. She hadn't even met me yet and called me a skank. I'll never forget that. When I ended things with Dee, she wasn't nice about it either. She sent me nasty messages saying I was controlling and just wanted an engagement ring. But that's not true at all. I did love Dee, and I cared for him. I helped clean out his flat, which was atrocious, by the way. He does not take care of himself as far as I know. The biggest lie he could ever tell was faking his time in hospital, saying he was there but he wasn't. Everyone knows I spent 7 months in hospital. That's why I always check if you're eating, because I was rushed into hospital for inadequate eating. And I'll talk more about that episode in the next one. Now I find myself back online dating. That's how me and Dee met. Will I find someone else? Who will it be? A girl? A guy? Because I'm poly and bisexual. I hope to find my special someone. Someone who will put up with all my crazy.